how's it going? Statman coming right back at you, and today I'm going to be giving you a review of a movie that I bought, I would say, a few years ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. I think it was like 3 years ago, though. And I bought it primarily on the recommendation of a friend of mine, Skinslip, here on YouTube, who said, "Oh, you definitely have to get this. You will love this movie. It has Scott Bakula in it." And I was like, "Scott Bakula? You mean the guy from Quantum Leap? One of my favorite all-time shows? All-time favorite shows? Yes! I'm definitely going to get that." So that's exactly what I did. Went and picked up Lord of Illusions a couple of years back now. But then never got around to watching it because I agreed to watch it with a friend of mine, with Skinslip. I was like, "Well, you recommended it to me, let's watch it together," and then we agreed to watch it together, and then never got around to watching it together. So I waited until, we had time, until it made sense for both of us to watch it. Finally happened recently, as we were leading up to Halloween. And I gotta say, this is a lot better than I was expecting. I didn't quite know what to expect, but this is about 5 billion times better than I was even expecting. Because I'll be truthful, I don't necessarily love a lot of the work of Clive Barker. I feel like a lot of his movies are over appreciated, I guess would be the word. I don't know. They're overhyped in a lot of ways, I feel like. Because when you compare them to the work of, when you compare those movies to stuff that like John Carpenter did, when you compare it to stuff that even like some of the stuff Wes Craven did, I don't know. Some of Clive Barker's stuff just doesn't really reach me as much. I feel like some of Clive Barker's stuff is a little more cheesy in some ways. And I guess there's a bit of a cheese factor to this one, but it was not what I was expecting even in the least. So, holy crap, this is actually a really amazing movie. And as you may have gathered from the title, it's about like illusions, right? It's about illusionists and magicians, like the difference between the two. In this movie, there's a huge difference between the two. You're an illusionist if you do the kind of things that you would expect of like a Harry Houdini, right? Things that most people consider a magician would be able to do are actually things that illusionists do. Magicians are completely different. Magicians can do things that no human should be able to do, like the types of things that you would claim only miracle workers have been able to do throughout human history, right? Those are magicians. People who can do things that just aren't possible. Magicians. People who are almost otherworldly. Magicians, right? So, yes, there is one magician in this movie and on this cover, in this artwork. Let's see if you can pinpoint him. Well, I won't tell you, I won't spoil that for you, but in addition to this being about, this is going to blow your mind, alright? This is a horror movie focusing on magicians, illusionists, and it's a bit of a film noir. Old? I know you're going to hear that and be like, what? What? Because you can almost kind of accept, okay, so it's a horror movie with magicians. That would still be kind of weird, because how many horror movies do you know about magicians, right? Not many. So, or about magic even. It'd still be kind of weird. But you add on to that the fact that, oh, there's also a bit of film noir to this. What? So, I picked up on this. I think Skinslip, as we were watching, he noted, like, yep, there's definitely film noir involved in this. He's like, yes, that's not a new thing. You didn't discover that on your own or anything. But he also, like, I was noting things that he was like, wow, man, I didn't notice that before. I didn't realize that, for example, one of the scenes early on in the movie takes place in a building that is actually in a location in Los Angeles where they shot one of the most iconic scenes from Touch of Evil, one of the most iconic film noirs ever made. You know? So there's that. And there were a few other things in the film, like locations and whatnot. For instance, I think the big house, the big mansion that is in this film, there's a big mansion in this film that is owned by, let's see, none of the people on the cover here. Sorry, he's not on there. But anyways, there's a big mansion in the film. And the mansion, I'm pretty sure, I can't say for definite sure, but just based on what I saw of it and like what I looked up online, just like to remind myself, I'm pretty sure it's the same mansion, the same building that you see in Sunset Boulevard. So that's kind of interesting. In addition, they visit the Magic Castle in L.A. And when the main character visits the Magic Castle in L.A., he kind of walks up a hill toward the big house, and that's not unheard of. It's not something you'd never see in L.A. because L.A. there are a lot of hills and Beverly Hills, right? So it's not like that's something you'd never see. But the way that the shot was done, the way that you see the character walking toward the house, is, I would say, almost shot for shot exactly the same as a scene that you see in Double Indemnity, where you see the main character walking up to a house in Beverly Hills. So, yeah. I mean, the references in this movie to film noir are pretty damn heavy. And then, like, in addition to the references, you also get the fact that Scott Bakula, the main reason I watched this, he plays a private detective, a smart-mouthed private detective who always has a catchy quip for every scenario. And he starts falling for a woman in red. Well, she isn't literally in red, but that's essentially the kind of character that she is for this movie. She's a woman in red. It's really, I'm not even kidding, this is a film noir. You wouldn't think it, but if you watch it with the lens of a film noir, you'll see, like, holy shit, this is actually a film noir. So, yeah, I loved that aspect of it. I loved the whole magician horror movie kind of thing going on, and apparently, according to what Skinsip was saying, this is also, it's in some ways tied to Hellraiser, potentially. Or I guess there are theories, maybe, that it's tied to Hellraiser. And I can see how that would work, because if you watch the movie, I guess you can see for yourself that it's got some elements to it that would fit into the Hellraiser universe. Some of the special effects, the CGI, there's some very early CGI in this, and some of it is pretty not good. First of all, it's early CGI, but second of all, apparently there was like some trouble behind the scenes, and they didn't want to spend the extra money to make it better or whatever. And you know what, that's fine, because at least the kind of stuff that they did with the CGI was pretty macabre. It was pretty disturbing and screwed up in a lot of ways. It wasn't necessarily the most realistic thing you ever see, but it gets the point across, I would say. There are a lot of things that you see with it that are just like, oh, God, eh. And then the practical effects, the makeup is just phenomenal. So I can't really complain about that. I mean, sure, there are a few scenes of CGI in this movie that aren't very good, but the practical effects are freaking amazing. I love them all. I mean, hell, again, look real close at that cover art right there. Look at the guy in the center there, and you might be able to see what I'm talking about with those practical effects, those makeup effects. And there are a lot of character actors in this movie, so you'll probably recognize more than a few people when you watch it. And that's one of the things that makes it more enjoyable to watch, I would say, on top of everything else. So yes, I actually really loved this movie. I'd say I give it maybe like an 8 out of 10 even, maybe better than that, I don't know. But maybe an 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. It's a really good movie. Really enjoyed it. It surprised the hell out of me because, well, I can't think of any other movie like it. So, yeah, glad that I got this when I did. Glad that I finally got around to watching it with my friend Skinslip. And, yeah, I mean, it was a blind buy for me when I got it. And even though I didn't get around to watching it for a few years, still very glad that I got it when I did. So damn good. Recommend it to everybody. I recommend it to everybody. But that will do it for me today. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later. Peace.